Welcome to the University of Arkansas Clinton School of Public Service. My name is Sybil and I'm dean of the school, and we're pleased to have you here today. We've got a large crowd, a capacity crowd. We've also got books and DVDs in the back, so please stop and buy and get them signed while you're here. We are very pleased to have this panel as part of our public program, Distinguished Lecture Series at the school, under the leadership of Patrick Kennedy and Nikolai Pippa, who have put together a fabulous series, not only for this fall, but this spring. Let me just brief you a little bit. On August 21st, Bob Barnett, lawyer, book guru, the guy that put Clinton's book deal together, and debate advisor, Senator Clinton's debate advisor is coming. On August 22nd, Marie Tillman, the wife of the late Pat Tillman, the U.S. soldier, NFL football star, will be here. On August the 24th, Stan Tyner, the editor of the Biloxi Sun-Herald, who will come and talk about the second anniversary of Katrina. On August the 27th, Pulitzer Prize-winning author Taylor Branch, Parting the Waters, perhaps one of the best and most noted civil rights authors of our time, will be here. And on August the 28th, just released today, America's Rankings of the Best Colleges and Universities, Brian Kelly, the editor of U.S. News and World Report, will be here only days after his publication was released. We're honored to have, as a special guest this afternoon, the Mexican consulate, Andreas Chao. Chao, would you be welcome? On Monday, classes begin at the Clinton School. Our third class has arrived. We have several of the Clinton School students who are here, many of whom are trying to recover from orientation. And our second year class, many of whom are trying to recover from returning from their international public service projects. But in that spirit, would the students from the Clinton School please stand and be recognized? And on Monday, we will be releasing our September public program schedule. It is very, very impressive. Almost every day in September. So we look forward to having you join us. I ask that you please turn your cell phones and your BlackBerries off. Would help. To introduce our program today is a good friend of mine, a person in Little Rock who needs no introduction, because his ability, his creativity, and what he's done at the Arkansas Rep is nothing short of remarkable. His years of experience in theater in New York before he came to Arkansas has been of great benefit to our state. And what he's doing at the Rep, not only in terms of bringing quality production, but in terms of bringing it to people throughout the state, thinking out of the box, doing some very creative stuff, including a new play on the 57 Little Rock Central crisis, which will be opening soon. He's really a real asset to the arts. He's also an asset to us. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Huff.
Thank you. I want to thank the Clinton School for inviting us to be here today. It's an honor, and thank you all also for coming out. It's kind of chilly out today, I thought, so I appreciate you coming out to enjoy the nice weather. I'm so delighted to have our panel here today. We're here as part of a new program at Arkansas Rep called Voices at the River, an inaugural program funded by the Rockefeller Foundation designed to bring together African American and Latino playwrights, actors, directors, dramaturgs to create new voices for the American theater. There are several components of this program, public readings. You have information in your chair about it. One of the things that's important to us is an aspect of the program allows us to go into the schools and high schools across our state and encourage encourage and nurture young writers to further their exploration of the art form. And we celebrated their work earlier in the week. We're also celebrating the work of established national playwrights. Here with us today, Luis Valdez and Lynn Nottage, embodying the idea of creating powerful voices for the American stage and for the American people. As I introduce our panel, I also want to recognize Rajendra Mangaraj, who's sitting over there, who is our project director. You have biographies, extensive biographies about our panel, so I won't go into great detail, but I do want to mention and introduce Lynn Nottage, who hails from Brooklyn, New York. Lynn is an Obie Award-winning playwright whose work has been seen in theaters across the country, including Yale Rep and the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. She is the recipient of numerous awards, including the New York Drama Critics Award and the American Theater Critics Steinberg 2004 New Play Award. Her play, Intimate Apparel, was produced at Arkansas Rep a couple of years ago. Luis Valdez is the founder of the Obie Award-winning theater Teatro Campesino and the creator of Zoot Suit, the first Chicano play to be seen on Broadway. He is the writer and director of the film La Bamba. He has been awarded the George Peabody Award, the Presidential Medal of the Arts, and was recently inducted into the College Fellows of American Theater at the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. Sybil Williams is our dramaturg. She hails from Washington, D.C. Now, the first question that I get asked is, what is a dramaturg? And, you know what a director is, you know what a producer is, you know what an actor is. What is a dramaturg? And I have really learned what a dramaturg is by getting to know Sybil. She is an outstanding voice for words, for ideas, for taking what we create, but paying attention to how it's created. A director takes a blueprint and creates a work on stage. A producer finds the money to pay for it. But a dramaturg is really about the words, about the ideas, and working with directors and working with playwrights to help them realize their vision in the most fully developed, compelling form of storytelling. And so that's what a dramaturg is, and that's what I've learned from Sybil during her time here at Arkansas, working with us on many projects. So I'm delighted to introduce this panel to talk today about the arts and social change. Thank you.
I wanted to start out by simply discussing what theater is, by first attempting to hazard a definition of theater put together from a number of different theater practitioners, which would then lead us into the question of why theater? What does it do? And how do these particular artists do what they do in terms of moving our minds, our bodies, and our souls, sometimes in intense isolation, to achieve a small modicum of change, or sometimes even really large change. So I'm going to begin with a brief definition of theater. Theater, according to Amiri Baraka, and I'm paraphrasing, should stagger through our universe, correcting, insulting, preaching, spitting craziness, but a craziness taught to us in our most rational moments. It must take dreams and give them reality. It must be food for those who need food, and daring propaganda for the beauty of the human mind. where the spirit can be shown to be the most competent force in the world. Amiri Baraka forged that definition in the late 60s. I was just privileged to have Mr. Valdez say to me, and it still stands because of the work that he was doing then, and I'm still doing. And so I know then that idea, the idea of spirit, the idea of propaganda, the idea of moving the human being in a particular direction, as the work of theater still stands. And one of the things that I wanted to begin talking to our parents about was to ask them this particular question. Why is art, particularly theater, necessary? Last night, Lynn said to our young playwrights, thank you for writing because we need you. And I wanted to hear them talk about why we need them. What is the necessity now for this art?
If I can respond to that question by just sharing a personal anecdote. 2 years ago, I was invited to the University of the West Indies to teach a workshop on one-act plays, and I was sort of surprised to travel that distance to teach one-act plays. And when I got there, I was expecting maybe 5, 6 people, and I was surprised that over 100 people turned out to learn the craft of playwriting. And I spent 5 days just going through the basics, and at the very end, I asked one of the professors, why was there such a wonderful turnout for this? And he said that cultural identity is often tied to national mythology. And national mythology is often developed on and explored on the stage. And in the West Indies, there hasn't been that opportunity to explore the mythology on stage. And so there was this hunger within the community to write. Because there are people like Toussaint Louverture, these wonderful national figures who have not been mythologized. And the professor said he feels as though the Caribbean is not going to make that step forward until they begin to mythologize their national heroes. And one of the things that I've found is that there is a vanguard of change, and we've seen that from the time of the Greeks, when they were exploring mythology, to Shakespeare, to people like Arthur Miller and August Wilson, who understood that mythologizing the working class gave them a form and a way to push the culture forward. The other experience that I want to share is a couple of years ago, I also had good fortune to go to Uganda and Kenya. And I will talk about that a little later, but I was very interested in some of the theatrical traditions there. And in Uganda, they said that they didn't have a literary tradition just because prior to colonialism, plays were not written down, they were orally shared. And it was an improvisational culture. And once colonialism ended, they found that theater was necessary in a very different way. It was that they needed to teach people about their culture again. They needed to reinforce the values of the culture. And they also needed to teach the culture about things like AIDS and healthcare. And so theater took on this utilitarian function, where you had these small groups that were traveling around from village to village, instructing folks about healthcare and about AIDS and about how to filter their water. And so I found this really interesting. And the conclusion that I've sort of come to is that theater is necessary in different ways in different cultures at different times. And I find that in the United States right now, because I don't consider myself necessarily to be a political playwright, to be a social playwright, which means that I'm exploring who I am and my own identity out loud. I find that the theater in particular is one of the places that we can do it communally and we can have that conversation. For me, when I'm sitting in the theater from night to night with a different audience, I find that the conversation I'm able to have shifts. And sometimes that crowd is absolutely silent and it's frightening and it's terrifying, and I realize that I'm saying things that perhaps hear it for the first time. And I sort of absorb that, and I take that into consideration when I'm writing the next play. And sometimes when I'm sitting in an audience and I hear a gasp of horror or a gasp of excitement, I understand that I'm first time.
Thank you. Mr. Valdez?
Well, I think that theater is most definitely a human necessity. In my case, it was a personal necessity. I've been doing theater with my company for 42 years. I'm 67. So when I was born in California, it was a very different world. It was a segregated world. And I found myself born into a family of migrant farm workers who had come to California by way of Arizona. And before that, we're in the northern state of Sonora, and we were basically Yaqui Indians, escaping genocide in Mexico about 100 years ago. And so we made our way through Tucson, eventually to the central San Joaquin Valley where I was born, in a farm labor camp in Lynn, California. And what got me hooked on theater was that when I was about 6 years old, we were on the migrant path. I was on the migrant path with my parents before I could walk, so I spent basically my growing up years in the fields, living in barns and chicken coops and that manner of housing. But when I was 6 years old, I went to school. We were living in a large cotton labor camp. There were all kinds of people, blacks, whites, Asians, Mexicans, picking cotton. And the cotton season was over. We got stuck there because my dad's truck was up on blocks. He was trying to fix it. The school bus used to roll into this large labor camp, which was virtually empty by the time that happened. And so my mother told me and my brother to go to school. I was drowned in the river because we were fishing in the river. We were eating beans and tortillas and fish tacos, before they were trendy. And didn't know they were, so sophisticated. But the thing is that we went to the school, and a school called Stratford. Not Stratford on Avon, Stratford on the San Joaquin. So, and then I used to take my lunch in a little brown paper sack. This is 1946. There were paper shortages in America in 1946. I didn't want to take my lunch in a C&H sugar sack, so I had this little brown paper sack that my mother got from the camp store. She commandeered it, I don't know how, but it was my treasure, and so I used to fold Mama's flour tacos into this and take care of it. And every day after school, I'd fold it up and take it back to my mother. One day it was missing, and my teacher saw me running around because the bus was leaving. And I told her what I was looking for. She said, "Oh, a little brown paper bag." And I said, "Yes." She says, "Well, I took it." I thought, well, that's strange. Give it back, And she says, "I can't." So she took me into this little back room, and there was my little brown paper bag, all wrapped up, floating in a basin of water. I thought she'd gone berserk. I really thought she went crazy. But no, she said, "Look at this." And she picked up a little piece of paper and dipped it into a white paste and put it on a clay mold. And I noticed right away, I said, "It looks like a monkey." And then she put another one, and then another one. Said, "Do you want to do it?" So I did it. And at that moment, I discovered one of the secrets of the universe, which is paper mache. And it was already November, and I knew that it was past Halloween. So I said, "What's this mask for?" And she said, "It's for a play." And so the following week, I auditioned for my first role. And I got it. I played a monkey. It was, they needed 2 first graders. The whole school was involved. It was Christmas in the jungle. And I auditioned my tail off, and I got the role. And the mask that she made beautifully from my taco bag, my mother's taco bag, was fantastic. And I got a little hat, and, a little red vest, and green pants, and a little tail, little red shoes. I mean, I was in heaven, and I saw this so bad school auditorium being turned into a jungle. And I was just, in seventh heaven. I forgot about the labor camp. I found my calling. But a week before we actually did it, we were evicted from the labor camp. And I was never in the play. And I'll never forget, my mother cried with me, I cried. My dad got in the truck fixed stoically, and we took off. And I'll never forget, the fog was coming in. We were leaving Stratford. It was receding to the background. And what I felt was this hole in my soul. I felt this hole in my soul. And the only way that I could fill it was by continuing to play and putting on plays. And so from the time that I was 6 years old, I began to stage plays with my friends. When they didn't know what to say, I began to write lines out for them, in paper here. Don't let me do it. Here, give it. And, which means here's stupid, But anyway, they played. They humored me. And so I began to stage plays wherever, outside, indoors, outdoors, 7 and 8 years old. Eventually, my friends got too much trouble. They were causing too much trouble. So I I went to puppets. I said, hell with them, to do puppets. With paper mache puppets. And what was also part of that was the bitterness of having been evicted. I knew that from 6 years old. The injustice of it. So all of that came to roost in my soul. And when I grew up, I decided that what I needed to do in my life was to do a theater out by and for farm workers, to perform in labor camps. And so in 1965, I got the opportunity to go to Cesar Chavez, who had launched a strike in the town where I was born, in Vallejo. And I said, I want to do this with the striking farm workers. And he listened very carefully and he said, okay. He said, but there's no money to do theater in Vallejo. There are no actors in Vallejo. There's no stage in Vallejo. There isn't even any time to rehearse in Vallejo. We're on picket lines. You still want to do it? And I said, absolutely, Cesar. What an opportunity. Thank you. And I went to work as part of the Great Strike, as a volunteer, as an organizer, a labor organizer. I did eventually work with nothing, actually. There was no money. We had no place to perform, no place to rehearse, no time. It was rampant. And so our theater started on the picket lines. We started on the picket lines of the Great Strike out there in the middle of nowhere in the San Joaquin Valley, performing out of the need to communicate with these scouts that were in the field in order to get the message to them. And the way we started was on top of this panel truck, little space. So 2 actors had time to get up there to do stuff. It was not play. It was struggle. It was union organizing. And as a result of that, along the way, I got beaten up. I was jailed and beaten. I had a loaded gun put in my head before it was all over. And I had to decide in my own mind whether if what I was doing was worth risking my life. And I decided most definitely that yes, that if I couldn't do this, I couldn't live. And so I became a playwright in the struggle. 42 years later with my company of Teatro Campesino, I'm still in the same struggle.
Having listened to Lynn say that she is in her work indeed exploring her own identity out loud and listening as that conversation about identity becomes communal, I wanted to give her an opportunity to talk about her work specifically, to talk about how indeed the process of her work, how she indeed creates the work that she does, and the impact of that work in terms of engaging or confronting social issues or political issues or even personal ones.
Well, I've become really interested in telling the stories of women from the African diaspora in unconventional ways. I'm not sort of interested in revisiting the Harriet Tubman story for the umpteenth time, but telling the story, telling stories of ordinary women, of great women, of women like my mother, women like my grandmother. And one of the things that I've been doing very recently is traveling to East Africa, and I've become very interested in women who are fleeing armed conflict and gender-specific human rights abuses. And 3 years ago, I began my journey by interviewing Congolese women, and I'm sure you probably understand and know what's going on in Congo right now. Over 4 million people have been killed since 1996 in a really hideous civil war, and there are just absolutely unspeakable things going on. But one of the victims, in particular, or the primary victims, are women and children. And I found that in exploring this issue, that these are the stories that are least likely to be told. And so I traveled with one of my collaborators, Kate Worski, to Uganda, I guess in 2004. And we wanted to do a modern adaptation of Mother Courage set in Congo, just because it sort of mirrored the protracted war that takes place in Bertolt Brecht's play. And when we began interviewing women, and I will never forget this as long as I live, the very first woman that we interviewed told her story, which was so horrendous and so heart-wrenching that I literally felt as though my heart was going to leap out of my mouth. And at that moment I thought, I cannot tell the story of Mother Courage. I cannot use sort of a European model to tell the story, that there's a story here in Africa that needs to be told and told in a different way. And that set me on this journey. now I've been back to East Africa 3 times collecting these stories of women, and I still haven't entirely figured out how I'm going to tell the story, but I will. And I found that when I begin asking people to talk to me, the women say, "Thank you. No one is listening to us." And I expected that maybe 1 or 2 women would come forward, and you find yourself sitting in a room for hours and days because the women are lining up. They're like, "I don't know what you're going to do with this story. I don't know how you're going to tell it, but here it is." And some of the stories take 2 or 3 hours, but I'm committed to listening from beginning to end. And so I'm in the process of finishing a play which I call Ruined, which is about women who have been brutally raped and trying to remake their lives in the aftermath of war. And hopefully, I think I was telling Regina this, that the story is larger than one play, and I think that I'm probably going to write a book about it as well.
I wanted to say to Lynn, in reading your interview about Ruin, you said something so profound. I mentioned it to Regina. You mentioned that in telling these stories, you were not going to use a docudrama form because the women did not give you their stories. Those stories were sacred, but they still belong to the women. And I thought, what a profound act of generosity to not take in a way that would be exploitive, even if helpful, exploitive, but to take in a way that allows you to use craft and your heart to create something that we can all engage these women without taking further from them. And that's a fine line to walk as an artist. And so I just wanted to mention and to say thank you, to commend you for that, actually. Luis, you've been in the struggle for quite some time. And so I wanted to hear you talk about how you've remained in the struggle. What is the work of El Teatro Campesino now? What remains consistent and what has changed? Because you began a very interesting conversation with Bob and I in the back room about using technology and how all of that is now impacting that work that you've been doing for so long.
Well, I think that we need to acknowledge some things about just life itself. And life moves, as far as I'm concerned, in a spiral that you often return back to the same place, but you're on a different level. Our DNA is not a double helix, because that is sort of the nature of life, and life moves in waves. It's another thing, phone calls come in waves, selling tickets, they come in waves, tourists come in waves, and that's just the wave factor is one of the qualities of all life, in that sense. And scientists know this, political scientists know this as well, that they move in this way. So my career has been a spiral. I obviously started in the field with Cesar Chavez, trying to lift from the ground up, the grassroots, literally, without a cent. But I've had the privilege of being on Broadway. I've been a Hollywood filmmaker. La Mamba made over $100 million, so I know the power of box office. And I've had really the ability to go elsewhere, but I have chosen to return to my roots. I've chosen to return back to my home base with the Teatro Campesino, San Juan Bautista, little mission town close to Salinas, Gilroy, because that's what reality is for me. But also that's where the power of the leverage power of my reality is. But in the interim, I've been privileged to have worked on other levels of my work. And 10 years ago, I was one of the founding professors of Cal State Monterey Bay in Monterey, and I was the only one that was in the arts, performing arts. So I created a major called Teledramatics, which incorporated theater, film, video, audio, television, and cyberspace into one major. Because as a practicing professional, I knew, and I heard Lynn mention some of her friends in New York going out to Hollywood, because you can't support yourself, sometimes being a practicing playwright. So you become a writer of screenplays and television shows in Hollywood. I know that reality. I've been there and back. I left it because I don't like it, frankly. I don't like to compromise. I don't like to sell out my basic reason for living, just to be able to make a living. And so I come back to property role because that's where the freedom is. But in any case, I understand the technology. So 10 years ago, when I was one of the founding professors of Monterey Bay, I realized the the world was changing, that the whole digital revolution was having a tremendous impact, and here were its impacts on politics. Because what I was doing at the beginning, 42 years ago in Delano, last night they did a wonderful production of Los Vendidos, Virginia directed it. It was beautiful. It was lovely to see it. But that's an opera that's 40 years old. I mean, it's one of my pieces, my older pieces. But in any case, that short form that we developed with the Teatro Campesino has not come home to roost with digital technology. What you're finding on YouTube, what you're finding on MySpace, what you're finding on television, on any computer today, with enough power to upset any political campaign, is popular theater, which is being created by the young. It's being created on the spur. It's being created with a handheld video camera. You understand? So theater is not something that is only the privilege and the purview of the rich anymore. It is at hand. It is a hand in the hands of any young or older person. It doesn't matter. Whoever wants to aim a video camera in the right direction, has enough imagination and enough wherewithal just to put together a small video, can upset the cart of any political candidate. And so I sort of sensed this 10 years ago, and so that's what teledramatics was intended to do. We began to teach students how to handle the handheld video camera, to create stuff, and to put it on the web. Now, along the line, MySpace has become a reality, and YouTube and so forth, and who knows where it's going to go from here. But what our technology has done then, that has made this constant process of creating theater available to everyone and available to the whole world, because you can put it on the net, and there it is. And there it is to impact on the world. There is no question that the arts, and the theater in particular, can have an impact on social change. It is the essence of social change. If you are going to run for political office, you better take some acting classes. Because if you can't act worth a damn, you won't be able to get those votes out there. I've been asked many times, why don't you run for office? I said, no, I'm an actor. I know I'm an actor. You know what I mean? And I had the privilege with Ronald Reagan of two things, yelling in his face when he became governor of California, because he was against the farm workers movement. So I went right up the steps of the Capitol and yelled into his face. And then, irony of ironies, he gave me the Presidential Medal of the Arts later. So it's amazing, it's like spiral. But anyway, that addresses part of it.
Actually, I'm going to ask one more question before we open it up to you all. And neither of my questions kind of fits now because you addressed them. And so I'm going to do this. And I don't want to throw you. I'm just going to ask you, what would you like to say in closing? What would you like to say? I don't have a question.
I'm sorry. I'd actually sort of like to thank everyone for being here. It's very rare that I actually get to address an audience. I'm petrified of public speaking. I'm a playwright, and part of my joy is sitting back and allowing the audience allowing the actors to interpret my words. And so, thank you for your patience.
In closing, hello, goodbye. It's very short. This is my first time in Arkansas. My wife and I, my partner, 40 years, Valdez, my wife and collaborator. This is the first time we've traveled all over, but this is really the first time that we've been in Arkansas, and we're very pleased to be here. We've seen some of your historical monuments. We were just in the courthouse this morning. We saw the quotes. How beautiful, how incredibly beautiful. The history and the legacy of this place is amazing to me. I was in high school in 1957 when I saw the events at Central High School. They impacted me directly. As a result of seeing that on television, I joined the civil rights movement as soon as I got into college in 1958. So I became an activist because I saw that struggle as a struggle that was mine. I felt this is my struggle. As an American, you understand? As an American. And you see me and you may not think of me as an American. A lot of people say you don't look American, But in fact, I am. And my relatives, my Yaqui ancestors have been in the Great Sonoran Desert for about 10,000 years. So we've been straddling Arizona for a long, long time. I've been around for a while, The local Cherokees were my second cousins here, But the fact is that America is a process that we all relate to because there's room for everybody in it. And yes, there are new waves coming into the country. There's a lot of talk about the Hispanic wave coming from Mexico and what have you, a lot of fear, a lot of xenophobia. And what I want to tell you, the Chicano, don't be concerned. Believe me, they want to learn English. They will. They will. And not only that, they're here because they want to be. And they bring skills. And regardless of what you think, and the whole process of the world is a question of cultural fusion and coming to know each other, to understand each other. And I think that's what makes the country great. And the artists, like the poet Shelley, Shelley said a long time ago, poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. And I think that playwrights are part of that family. We're poets. And so a lot of what we write about, in the privacy of our own rooms and heads, is really the promise of the future. And it doesn't involve human confrontation, but eventually it opens up into human understanding. And I think that if you can write a play that can make people laugh or cry, if you can write a play that can influence people and change their behavior in the street the next morning, then you're just serving the process of humanity, There's so many thousands and millions of people that live and will come after us. Let us live in peace and learn to celebrate life for what it is, the wonder, the joy of human existence, as long as we live. Thank you.
Question was about how do we continue to create safe spaces to tell stories, how do we continue to create safe spaces to struggle for the kinds of liberties and inclusion that is important in the world. And then I had one that said, how does your work confront the world at its worst? Well, all of those questions got answered, so there was no need to be redundant and repeat them. So what I'd like to do at this point is to ask you, audience members, if you have questions for our panel, and to please engage us in dialogue. And I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see. Yes, that.
As a minister, I'm curious as to how communities of faith might play into your vision of social change through the use of theater. Either one.
Communities of faith. Communities of faith. Well, again, two large things in my involvement with Cesar Chavez, the whole spirituality of his person and his movement impacted on my work. And so what we do in the Teatro Campesino is also celebrate sacral theater. We can be very raucous, we can be very funny, and that's the only way you can deal with certain problems. But there are also other needs where you need to celebrate not just the profane, but the sacred part of life. And that takes a certain kind of ceremonial theater. So for the last 36 years, for instance, we've been performing in Mission San Juan Bautista, doing, on the one hand, our play of the Virgin of Guadalupe, the Four Miracle Apparitions. This is on her feast day in December. And when Peter Brook, the great English director, came and saw it, he said that it was like being back in the Middle Ages, is what he said. Because that's really sort of the spirit of it, and it's in a church. It's theater, but it's also sacral theater. We know that people that come to see it believe in the Virgin, and so for them it is a ceremony. Now, if you're not Catholic, the Holy Mother is there. To me, it's a revelation of not just a Catholic saint or whatever, or the Mother of Christ. It also invokes the divinity of woman. I really think that that's ultimately what is exposed here, is the fact that God is also a woman, and most probably a better woman than a man, actually, in certain ways. And so in that sense, we're celebrating something that's very deep, that is not limited to any particular denomination or religion as far as I'm concerned. And I find that this particular tradition of ours, annual now, is a way to reinforce our own regeneration in life.
And I wanted to add to that, too. There's something wonderful that recently happened in D.C. One of my former students, along with a partner of hers from NYU, wrote a play that they were touring about a woman in Zimbabwe and an African American woman from Los Angeles called In the Continuum, confronting the issue of AIDS. And these two young women created this play as part of their graduate thesis at NYU, and it's now sort of this international play that's going around. And the question came up at a Q&A after the play, well, how are churches responding to your play? And my immediate reaction, because theater has always been an integral part of the Black church. It is sometimes part of the actual religious service, and then around the holidays there may be separate pageants and pastoral plays. And she said there are a number of church groups that are asking us to come perform monologues and bits of this play for their congregation. And I was so taken aback by that, because the play is it has very explicit sexual content, very explicit issues that surround AIDS, very graphic language. She said it hasn't been a problem, that some of the more conservative churches in our community had asked them to come and talk to young people and to perform. I thought that was a really large step on their behalf. So communities are getting involved, I think, in ways that are innovative and exciting for them.
Yeah, when I had another footnote on that, is I just remembered it was one of our early articles that we did, sort of halfway from Cesar Chavez's request. We had a bishop that was backing the growers, Bishop Bullinger in Fresno refused to acknowledge the union, was threatening to excommunicate Cesar, as a matter of fact, early on. So we put together this article called Bishop Oldfinger, where the bishop got up on top of the backs of the workers to bless the growers, and then scolded the farm workers, and he was on top of the farm workers, so they began to move, and eventually he gets toppled over. I just thought I'd mention that.
Is there another question, please? Yes, ma'am.
I'm a member of the board of a very small theater here in Little Rock called Weekend Theater. Another board member is sitting right next to me. We do plays around things of social justice, and we really don't have the resources to do much more than that. Is that enough?
Is it enough to do plays that?
Is it enough just to keep, for 15 odd years, putting these issues out in front of 80 people in it?
I think that as long as there's a demand and a need in your community, and people come in to see the theater, then yes, it is necessary, and it is enough. I think that in America right now, there's very little political theater that's going on, so I find that it's commendable that you can continue to do it for 59 years. I'm sorry, 15. I'm sorry.
It's part of also keep on keeping on, that idea, and sure, I think it's great that you're doing it, and you've got to do it as long as you can, and it doesn't matter if you're doing it for 10 people. Sometimes you don't know who's out, it's like my actors, you don't know who's out there. Even if it's 10 kids, you don't know who those 10 kids are. And if it's just one person, in a sense, it's almost worth it to do it for one person. It's really in the act, that you create a vibration. My basic belief about the nature of the theater is that it's not so much an opportunity to be exposed, to expose yourself, to be seen, or even to be heard. To me, the essential nature of the human being is a vibration, what the Mayans call Winiki, the vibrant being. And when you are truly acting, you are setting a vibration in motion that reaches out and activates the audience's vibration, and they feed it back to you. And it's in that exchange of vibrations that change occurs, that people become transformed. And I think that as long as you continue to do this, it's a wonderful thing. Theater is the creator of community. Community is the creator of theater. It's an endless continuum.
Has any one of you had an experience for the benefit of the amateur playwrights here where your play or your production did not connect with the audience, and why do you think that was?
I do have an experience. I wrote a play, I guess it was maybe now about 10 or 12 years ago, called Coroners, which was about a group of radical black activists that decided to create an act of civil disobedience that soon goes awry. They ended up blowing an FBI building up and inadvertently killing some children. And when I wrote this play, it was prior to Oklahoma City. It was a year before Oklahoma City. And it was meant as a social satire. It was meant as a warning that there was a kind of radical spirit that was growing up in America that needed to be addressed, that there was an anger that wasn't being properly channeled. And the first time it was performed, the audience came in droves, and people responded, and they laughed. And a larger theater in New York City decided they were going to go ahead and produce the play. And in between the time when we first produced it and when it made it to the stage of the Vineyard Theater, Oklahoma City happened, and it opened on the day of the Million Man March. And so a play that was very popular a year before became absolutely dead on arrival. I sat in an audience where people would get up in the middle, they'd run out of the theater, they'd tear up their programs, the critics were absolutely brutal towards the play. And I remember talking to the artistic director, and like, well, do we continue? Can we continue to allow the actors to go through this? And his response was, well, let's see how it goes. Let's see if the audience builds by word of mouth. But 2 weeks into the run, we only had 6 or 7 people sitting in the audience, and we had 10 actors on the stage. And they decided, for the first time in the history of the theater, to close the play early. And I remember feeling absolutely shattered by the experience, but I understood that it was necessary, and that sometimes the pain of going through that and saying things that are difficult are necessary. And I remember speaking to the artistic director, and he said, in 5 years, I'm going to put this play back on, because I think America's going to be different, and they will respond to the play in the way that they should. But he never produced it again. But afterwards, I was sued by someone. I received crank phone calls for about a year. And I remember questioning whether I could go on. And I remember my husband saying, put that aside, move forward. But that's the price of writing something that's provocative.
We have time for one question.
This question is on this knowledge. Sybil briefly discussed the fine line between taking a personal account and then using it as some sort of foundation or turning it into a piece of theater. And I was wondering if you would briefly discuss your approach to this process.
Well, in the case of Ruined, I collected all these personal narratives, and I see that the characters in the play are composites of the women who I spoke to. And like she said, these people shared with me their stories, and I'm sort of reflecting them back out there, but I don't own them, and I would feel very dishonest sort of representing their voices as my own. And so I'm very careful in the process of writing not to duplicate their words, but certainly it is the foundation for what I'm writing, and I would not have the foreknowledge without their voices there.
I think you can also utilize direct documentation in a number of different ways. My play Sutu is a Sutu. It has the same relationship to a regular suit, to a regular play, a well-made play. There is such a thing that a zoot suit has to a regular suit. In other words, it has some outlandish cuts, and those are deliberate and sort of explained within the play. But a lot of the play is like it's introduced in the beginning as a construct of fact and fantasy, because I use a lot of documentation. I took a 6,000-page transcript of an appeal brief, and I found it outrageous, but I wanted to use some of it, but eventually I ended up using only 12 pages, a 12-page scene based on 6,000 pages of testimony, a notorious trial that the Sybil case in L.A. And but anyway, I was able to condense 12 pages, but those are verbatim quotes from the case. And when critics responded to it, they said, "Well, Valdez is writing that in a problem." And I had to tell them, "No, this is act. This is real." And I used letters. I used actual interviews from people, into the play, and it's all woven into this play that is both fantasy and fact. So you can do different things with fact, that are very important part of the fabric of any play, actually, in a certain way.
And I think there is a time and place for verbatim plays. Right now I'm putting together a play which is an adaptation of the slave narratives that were collected during the 1930s by the WPA project. And for me, it's really important that those voices remain intact and that we hear what they have to say, because they wanted us all these years later to hear their words and hear their experiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's thank Sybil, Lynn, and the opportunity to visit with him shortly, so I hope you do come by and say hi. He was introduced earlier, but I want to ask Rajendra Maharaj to stand up. Did I get it right? I came close. This is the writer and the director of It Happened in Little Rock, which opens after that. The story of the 1957 crisis, especially done for the Rep. I know that Sybil and the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation had a lot to do with that, so we appreciate that. I also want to say to the Clinton School students that yes, there will be a Clinton School night at the Rep, so that all of you will be able to see this play, and yes, you won't have to pay for it. But we will have a Clinton School night, so we'll be coming to see you. And what a fabulous gift it is for the community of the state. And ladies and gentlemen, again, we are blessed with a lot of talent in this city. We got a lot of good things going, but no one any better, any harder worker, and any more creative than Bob Huff in the Arkansas Rep. Buy your season tickets, enjoy the show, visit with our guests. Thank you all for coming.